Good morning, everyone. This is the Master of Science in Finance information session. So to kind of kick things off, I think it'll be best if we all introduce ourselves. So Mike, if you want to kick us off, that would be great.
Yes, thanks, Jen. Good morning. I am Professor Mike Nugent. I am an associate professor in the Department of Finance, as well as the academic director of the MS Finance program.
And I'll go next. My name is Spencer Bradley. I'm the Assistant Director of Recruiting for online students interested in the online programs available at the College of Business. And my team, I've got a team of 4 enrollment services advisors that help out prospective students looking to have an interest in our College of Business programs.
And my name is Jen. I am one of those enrollment service advisors on Spencer's team. So throughout your application process, you will either be talking to me or you'll be talking to one of my other 3 colleagues. Either way, you're going to be in great hands. So we'll kind of kick things off. So for today's agenda, we are going to give you all a brief overview of the program. We'll kind of go into the nitty-gritty details of the curriculum, as well as admissions requirements and processes, so that you get a lay of the land. And then we will give you kind of a general overview of what to expect as a UC online student and what that student experience will look like. And then, of course, throughout the time that we are with each other today, there is a chat feature in the box down below. So anytime you have a question, just throw your question in that box, and then Spencer will be able to relay that to Mike and I throughout the presentation. So any questions, please send them our way in that chat.
So an overview of the program. So our goal is to prepare you for the next step in your career. The interesting part of finance is there's a whole lot you can do with it. The challenging part, there's a whole lot you can do with it. So unlike, for example, accounting, where people go, they get their CPA, there's a breadth of opportunities in the world of finance. Pretty much every corporation has a finance department. So you have the opportunity by getting your MS in finance to be able to walk into corporate finance, things like investment banking, wealth management, portfolio management, become an equity analyst, to work in credit risk, to work in things like private equity, venture capital, mergers and acquisitions. So the opportunities are very broad-based. So our goal is to give you a sound foundation of the types of courses and the types of information you need to be able to elevate your career into one of those categories. Now, that being said, we are a board certified program to become a certified financial planner. Now, to become a certified financial planner, you have to sit for the CFP exam, but you are only allowed to sit for the CFP exam if you go through a board certified program like ours. We cover about 80% of the material for the level 1 CFA exam. You also have the ability to tack on to our program various certificates that will more specialize the program for you. As you can see, the Bureau of Labor Statistics has expected the roles in finance to grow double digits each year for the next almost decade. Highlights to the program. The program is 100% online. So all the courses are done online and you interact with faculty online. Now, that being said, if you happen to live locally, you are allowed to take courses in person if you so choose. That, however, is not required. It's an option that's available to anyone. There's obviously, because it's online, there are no campus visits required, but they, by all means, are welcome. Even if you're out of town and you happen to be in town in Cincinnati for some reason, by all means, come in, meet your professors, meet us, and I'm happy to arrange those interactions. Typically, people graduate from the program in 2 years. It could be a little less or a little more depending upon your course load and how many courses you take, but the typical load for a part-timer is about 2 courses per semester, about 6 credit hours per semester. Our faculty, most of the faculty teaching in the program are tenured. or educators. I personally am an educator. I have an industry background. I was at Morgan Stanley before coming to UC. So you get a great combination of people with industry experience and people that are research oriented. One thing people don't realize about the University of Cincinnati, we're an R1 research university, which means we're a top level public research university. You're going to get support from beginning to end. In fact, you're going to get support before you start because you're getting support now. And that process is going to continue all the way through. We do offer admission in all 3 semesters, so you can apply for both fall, not both, but for fall, spring, and summer.
Mike, I got a question about the
Sure.
what are the class sizes like?
So let me go back. So class sizes vary by course. There are some that could be 60, 70 students, and there's some that could be 15 or 20. So for example, I have a class this summer that is one of the courses that is taught in the program, and it's 15 people. So it varies definitely semester by semester and course by course. I think, Spencer, the thing that is cool online is in some ways people are less, you don't get this big room feeling in an online course because you're not sitting in an auditorium of 200 people getting lost. It's still like when I do my course, it's a direct dialogue between you and me because I have a video that's posted and you watch it. So it's a direct interaction. And I, for example, build things into my courses with discussion boards, etc. So it's very personalized.
And is the program structured with a cohort structure?
Typically not really. So the challenge with that is because we admit every semester and students are primarily part-time, there really isn't the same cohort process because people have their own pace. And really that's one of the benefits of being in an online program is you have the opportunity to have the pace fit you. And so in a cohorted program, you pretty much everything is in lockstep. Everybody has to do the same thing at the same time. In this kind of program, you can take a semester off and it doesn't impact the cohort, so to speak. You can take one course for a particular semester. You could look at summer and go, you know what, I really don't want to go to school in the summer. I want to go sit at the beach, which is cool. So the benefit of being uncohorted on an online environment is the flexibility. So I want to walk you through quickly the curriculum. So what I want you to think about is what's on the right is the actual program itself, the courses that are required within the program. The courses on the left, the foundation courses, are basically the prereqs that are required for the program. So we are AACSB accredited. Part of our accreditation requires students to have these basic business knowledge courses before they enter or as part of the program. The other piece is, if you come from a business background, a business degree, you most likely have had an accounting, a basic accounting program, a course in economics, macro and micro, a course in business statistics, and something in whether it's marketing, organizations, etc. So you've already satisfied those. If you haven't had those, as you can see, some of these courses on the right utilize everything in the first 3. For example, Advanced Info and Val is an accounting course. But if you've never had accounting, you don't understand how the system works. So we want you to have that basic foundation in accounting, econ, and stat. Keep in mind that these courses do not count towards the 30 credit hours towards your degree, but they are required. What I do is when I go through and do admissions, I look at everybody's transcript and I will let you know through the admissions process if there are any foundation courses you need to take. The courses on the right are the courses in the MS Finance program. And the way they're numbered, they somewhat go in the sequence in which you should take them. The one that probably stands out from that is the Economics for Finance. That one should probably be pushed up from a timing perspective more to the beginning but this pretty much walks in lockstep. And so equity analysis is more the equity side of the investments piece. Advanced info and val is more the accounting piece. How do you look at financial statements? And you get fixed income, investments, options and futures, derivatives, portfolio management. Special topics is meant to combine with the BANA 6043 course. This is really a programming course, whether it's R or Python. And then the special topics course enables you to use R and Python from a finance perspective. Industry is really requiring people to have now in finance, at least a working knowledge of programming. Then you also would do portfolio management. You would do the capstone at the end. The capstone is really where you utilize and demonstrate proficiency in the things you've learned. And then you have a small number of electives, typically 2 or 3.
And Mike, can you expand on the capstone project, exactly what that will entail?
So the capstone project is a group project, and the group does an equity analyst report on a publicly held company. So we do this for 2 reasons. One, it's a way for you to demonstrate the skills you've acquired in going through courses like equity analysis, info and val, fixed income investments, etc., because you have to use that knowledge to do a full-blown equity analyst report. The other reason we do this is we want to give you something tangible. We want you to have something physical when you're finished that you can walk into a potential employer and say, let me show you what I've done. Not let me tell you about my exam, but let me show you what I did, what we did, and let me talk to you about why we did what we did, how we analyzed the company, how we analyzed the market, how we forecasted the company, what types of things we considered when we did that. And it really gives you a much stronger platform when you have those interview meetings.
One thing that I like to note too, if you don't mind going back there for just a second, Mike, is at UC for our grad programs, the semesters run for a total of 14 weeks. But there are some courses that will just run for either the first half or the first 7 weeks or the second half or the second 7 weeks. So when you look at this curriculum and you can see those 2 credit hour classes, with the exception of the capstone, those are going to be running for half of the semester. So it essentially allows a little more flexibility just because you're able to take, let's say, an extra class within that semester without taking all of them at the exact same time. So it does allow for a little more flexibility, which is unique. And I know it can be confusing when you see 2 credit hours versus 3. So just wanted to throw that out there for everyone.
Yeah, and to add on what Jen said, so one of the things we have done is most of what we call the core courses, which are going to be equity analysis, info and val, fixed income, investments, options and futures, those are typically, and economics for finance, are all typically 3 credit hour courses. The beauty of having the 2 credit hour courses is the first half of the semester, you would typically take BANA 6043. And the second half, you would take the special topics in finance. So these things piggyback on each other. That's part of the beauty of having this combination of 3 credit hour and 2 credit hour courses.
So as far as admissions and requirements go, great news off the bat is there's no fee associated with applying to this program. So the $65 fee has been waived for the school year, so no need to worry about that. Some application requirements, we do like to see a 3.0 or higher. 2 letters of recommendation are required. For those 2 letters, you will actually just enter in the contact information of the people that you're using. We do prefer that those are going to be professional references, so managers of your company that you're working at now or potentially a previous company would work great. You'll enter in their contact information within the application, and then UC is going to email them instructions on how to get that completed for you. So you're not obtaining those letters, you're really just entering in the contact information. Then you'll upload a goal statement. To me, this is honestly, in my opinion, the most important part of the application. It's really a way for you to show off and show who you are explain to Mike and the review committee why you're looking to get your master's in finance, some professional goals that you might have. It's really your chance to kind of use that to stand out. You'll upload a resume. Obviously, we like to see finance experience on there. And then lastly, transcripts. For the application process, those are going to be unofficial transcripts from all higher education you have attended. So don't worry about sending in official transcripts. That will take place later on in the process. So to make it easier and cheaper for you, just the unofficial transcripts are what is needed.
And Mike, what is the acceptance rate for the program?
So Spencer, the acceptance rate, and so sorry if you can hear the phone ringing in the background. The acceptance rate is somewhere between 50 and 60%. And Spencer, I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things I was going to mention is that if you are concerned about whether or not you meet the admission requirements, number one, I would talk to one of the advisors, walk it through with them. Secondly, we do have another entry point, which is through an investment certificate. And we use that to say, look, we're not quite sure if the program's right for you or you're right for the program. We're unsure at this point. However, we believe that there's a possibility that this is a good fit. What we want you to do is do a limited number of courses for the investment certificate, so we can get a feel for your graduate work and you can get a feel for it. The good thing is the courses that are in the investment certificate are also part of the EMS program. So you're not doing extra work. And so just keep in mind, as you're looking from the admissions perspective, there are multiple ways of entering the program, and make sure you reach out to your advisor so you can have those opportunities.
As far as the breakdown of tuition, pretty standard. For Ohio residents, part-time is going to cost $1,000 per credit hour. Anyone outside of the state of Ohio, it will be $1,015. Most of our students in this program are going to fall in that middle section. That is because most of them are full-time working in professionals, and so they're completing this program part-time. If you were a full-time student, which is rare, but it could happen, you would be falling into that last row there, with the cost of tuition being at the bottom. So almost about $12,000 for Ohio residents and a little over the 12 if you are outside of the state of Ohio. This does not include the cost of books, but typically that wouldn't range any more than, I would say, a couple $100s a semester. Each class is going to be different, so that will be something that you'll kind of cover within your syllabus and with your professor, but that's a class by class basis. So this covers everything else except for the cost of books.
Yeah, one thing keep in mind if you're considering full-time, or if you're going to get close, there's an interesting break in the way that we charge tuition, and that is full-time for us is between 10 and 18 credit hours. We don't charge full-time tuition by credit hour. It's the same fee whether you take 10 hours or 18 hours. Ironically, if you look at it, you can see the cost per credit. I'm pointing to the screen like you can see it. But ironically, if you're going to take 9 credit hours, the cost is much lower than taking 10 credit hours and be full-time. So keep in mind that we'll work with you and try to help you maximize the economic benefit. In other words, we want to, as much as we can, minimize your cost. So we will work with you in making sure and saying, like, wait a minute, you don't want to take 10 hours, you want to take 8, because economically there's a massive difference in the cost structure. The other thing I would piggyback on what Jen said about books. If you're doing part-time, I would agree. Your books are probably $200 to $300 a semester. They can be a little less because sometimes you can use a previous edition. Sometimes a lot of publishers now have online books. They have ebooks now, not the traditional PDF, but you actually access the website. So that's a pretty realistic avenue. If you're going full-time, however, if you're taking 5 courses, that $200 to $300 semester is probably a little higher.
As far as some application deadlines coming up, For our fall 2023 term, that application deadline is going to be August 1st, with classes starting on the August 21st. We are getting close to that. We definitely have enough time for everyone to come in and get started. That being said, if you feel like that's a little too rushed, we can absolutely get you in for spring. So that deadline is not until December 8th. So we definitely have, 3 start dates per year is awesome. And it allows you to kind of have that flexibility, like Mike mentioned earlier, to kind of get in at a time that works better for you. And one thing, I know we touched on it a little, I just want to clarify again. If you are wanting to take a summer off to go sit on a beach somewhere, you absolutely can do that. So in order to stay an active student, you just have to take 1 class per academic year. So whether that's fall, spring, or summer, and you have to complete the program in 5 years. Typically, students in this program are going to finish closer to the 2-year mark, though. So that 5 years would be stretching it quite a bit. So don't worry about that. But that's kind of just a general overview for timeline. As far as the UC student experience goes, I think it's important to remember that as an online student, you're not just on an abandoned island somewhere. You're going to have a full team of people ready to support you from getting you from point A all the way to point B and beyond. So you will receive a designated academic advisor, a career advisor, and a student success coordinator, as well as one of us, which would be an enrollment services advisor. So throughout your time here, you'll basically start with me or one of my colleagues. From there, we will move you on to your student success coordinator. Once you confirm your spot in the program, you'll work with your academic advisor to help you get registered for classes. And then once it comes time for graduation or you're nearing that point, you will have a career advisor designated to you to help you kind of figure out what your plans look like for after you graduate with this master's degree, trying to figure out where you want to take it, what you want to do. So we definitely have all of those people here to support you, but we do have some online resources as well. So we have, the library student success center where you can go and maybe work on your resume or go and, find time to meet with a tutor on things. So you're definitely going to have that support throughout the whole process, which is awesome.
I think one of the things that's important to keep in mind, if you're doing the program online, you have literally the same access to people that an in-person student has. It's not like you have limited access where somebody else has full access. You're going to have the same academic advisor that the in-person students have. You're going to have access to me, just like the in-person students have. You're going to have access to your career coach, just like the in-person students have. You're going to have access to the same resources, the library, etc. So what we want you to keep in mind is while the method of delivery is different than an in-person program, the support is basically the same, and in some ways maybe even enhanced than it is for in-person. So please keep in mind, we want to make sure, we want to do everything we can to support your success. And so we have created a program that enables that success to happen.
Mike, are exams proctored?
Exams are typically not proctored. That's more of an in-person environment. A proctor is really where somebody is in the classroom other than the professor just watching what happens. Every course is different. So every course is set up the way whether it's exams, quizzes, assignments, or whatever are unique to that particular course. The only thing I would say that I have seen done is there's a process called Honor Lock that I know of one person in our department that uses. So it's going to vary course by course, but I would say typically, Spencer, they're not.
So I'm going to leave this slide up for just a second. If anyone wants to grab a screenshot of that, that way you have Mike's email as well as my email and the link to our online webpage. We love when you guys reach out to us with questions, honestly. So that's what we're here for. If you have questions either about the application process or about the program itself, maybe some classes that you want some more information on, we are more than happy to talk with you. Mike is happy to even schedule a call with you if needed. So we're definitely here to kind of support you throughout this whole process, like we said.
And I would echo that. Please reach out. I mean, that's why we're here. So we welcome emails, phone calls, Zoom meetings, one-on-one. If you have any questions, please reach out. I'm happy to walk through with you where this may fit your career. As I mentioned, my background is I came from Morgan Stanley as a wealth advisor, portfolio manager. Before that, had owned and started my own business. So, we have a lot of contacts also within the industry. So we're happy to have those conversations with you. Spencer, any last questions?
No additional questions, but I appreciate the answers to all those questions.
Great.
Awesome.
Well, thanks everyone for watching. Please reach out if you have any questions.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.